Ensuring expenses are compliant with business rules is a big challenge for accountants. It's harder to expect employees to remember these rules. With Fyle, you can configure any expense policy easily. This gets automatically checked when a user adds a receipt, and even before the expense is submitted for approval. To configure an expense policy rule, go to Fyle's Admin Settings. Click on Expenses. And go to Policies. Here, you can see an active business rule that expenses above $500 need additional approval. Let's see how to create a new policy. For example, food expenses should be limited to $70 a day for all employees. First, select the category of the expenses affected in this policy. For instance, food. You can add multiple categories here. Narrow down who is affected by this policy. Here, you can filter based on employee levels, departments, locations, specific people, or more. You can include or exclude specific types of employees in each case. Let's say we want our rule to apply to everyone in the organization. So we will not add any employee property. Next, specify the policy conditions or rules based on which an expense will be checked for compliance. This could be a spend limit. For example, capping the amount spent daily, monthly, yearly, etc. You can add rules specific to cost centers or custom fields. You can block holiday expenses or expenses older than a certain date, or policies for specific projects. In our case, we want a daily limit of $70. If you add multiple conditions, the engine will check if all conditions are satisfied. Next, define what happens when a violation is found. You can choose to flag the expense, allow employees to provide reasoning, cap the expense claim amount, assign an additional approver, or block the expense. We'll choose to flag the expense and ask employees to add a reason. Finally, add a policy description. For example, daily food cap $70. You can also see the summary of your rule here on the right. And save it. Let's see the policy check in action when an employee adds a receipt. We'll add a food receipt that's over $70. And wait for OCR to run. Let's try to save the expense. Fyle's AI runs a policy check and shows the user this warning based on what we set, even before the expense is saved and submitted for approval. As an admin, you can see all the expenses being flagged. Fyle also checks for any duplicate or fraud expenses in real time. Configure any complex business rule with our advanced policy engine, and ensure every expense is compliant in real time. Schedule a demo with Fyle now.